currently holding for the Ultimate Fighter conference call. At this time, we're still admitting additional participants and plan to be underway shortly. We thank you for your patience in holding and ask that you please remain on the line. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Fighter conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Schaller. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Ultimate Fighter finale call. The Ultimate Fighter takes place this Saturday, December 15th at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. The main event is Roy Big Country Nelson versus Matt Mitrione. As you know, it's a big week for Tough on FX, UFC on FX. The Tough Smashes finale, George Soteropoulos versus Ross Pearson, is on Friday. That's on FX at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. That leads into Saturday's big broadcast at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, Nelson versus Mitrione, and also in the finale, Mike Ricci versus Colton Smith. Today on the call, we're joined by Roy, Matt, Mike, and Colton, and we'll kick things off right now. Operator, if you would, let's go ahead and cue for the first question.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that is star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. If you're joining us using a speakerphone, please ensure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Once again, that is star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for a moment to assemble the queue. Our first question will come from Brian Heminger with MMAmania.com.
Boy, you were very vocal about making sure you had the VADA testing and everything for the Shane Carwin fight, but you've kind of toned it down now that Mitrione's your opponent. You know, why was that change?
Actually, it wasn't that big of a. I asked Matt, and and it's either a yes or no question, and that's it. Like, I mean, it's going to kind of, kicking a dead horse. All I can do is ask once, and then it's either yes or no, and then you either take it or you don't. And so far I'm 0 for 2.
And for Matt, you guys were contestants together on The Ultimate Fighter Season 10. Was there ever a chance where you were thinking, this is an opportunity to get that win over him? And I don't know, just because you weren't able to make it to the finals.
No, dude. Roy won The Ultimate Fighter. Good job to Roy, and he's had 3.5 years or 3 years or so to develop since then, and so have I. So just kind of our careers just happen to meet now. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Next, we'll hear from Heidi Fang with MMA Fight Corner.
Thank you for the time. My first question is for Matt. It's been over a year since you fought, and is there any way that you think that that'll affect you going into the octagon?
Honestly, I don't know. I'll tell you after the fight. I understand it's been a while. I haven't had an adrenaline dump for a little bit, but I feel it's like riding a bike. I never had a fight before the UFC anyway, so I went in there and I just kind of went off the cuff and made it happen. So I'm sure it'll be like the same way.
Thank you. And for Mike Ricci, you had said during the Ultimate Fighter in the semifinals that to be the first Canadian to win tough would be of great importance to you. How much do you feel that I guess maybe the country's even riding on your back going into this?
Yeah, well, it's definitely not the first time I've had my country on my back. Just this time, I'm going to make the outcome different.
And for Colton, I know in the first episode that we saw with you, there was that part where you had gone up to touch gloves, but then you shot right in for a takedown. Have you gotten any flack for that? And what do you think about the first impression that you made with the television audience?
Yeah, I've gotten quite a bit of flack for that. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't on purpose. My nerves were high. First time fighting out of my element. It happened. I apologize. I knew obviously it's wrong. I wouldn't do it on purpose or maliciously. But I've gotten some flack from it. But for the most part, people saw how I really was on the show, and that's not my style. It's not who I am. So.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Say again?
And again, ladies and gentlemen, that is *1 if you would like to ask a question. We'll hear from Damon Martin with MMAweekly.com.
My first question is to Roy. Roy, this entire season of The Ultimate Fighter, I just want to get your impressions of the show from your point of view and then what we saw on TV. Was that really who you were as a coach, and were there things that were left out that maybe we didn't get to see in the training and the preparation you did with your fighters?
The one thing about the UFC, they're a great marketing machine, and I think they're just waiting to sell the DVD because, for the DVD, it's going to be like Roy Nelson has 5 tough Ultimate Fighter winners to 3 UFC champions to 5 world champions to actually having Hoist Gracie on there and get behind-the-scenes footage and buy the DVD now.
And with that said, you go into this fight. It's changed so much, and I know I talked to you a couple of weeks ago about this, but has everything switched? Was it tough to switch the mentality, switching to a Matt Mitrione versus a Shane Carwin? Obviously much different styles, but also there was a lot of build-up to fighting Shane Carwin, and I don't think there's any personal beef with you and Matt. So was it a big switch in your camp, a big switch in mentality?
I think the biggest thing that, we switched up was, Shane and Matt are 2 different fighters. One fights southpaw, one fights orthodox, so that's a big change. And then the other thing is from my understanding, Matt, chose this fight, so it's, I guess, it becomes a little bit more personal.
And a question for Mike Ricci. Mike, we know you work with the team at TriStar up in Montreal. We saw the performance of your teammate Rory McDonald. I know you and Roy are very close. Can you kind of talk about the magic nature of what's going on at that camp and the work you've been doing there? Because it seems like TriStar is starting to become one of the top level gyms in the country.
Yeah, I thought, coming home from tough that I'd have a bit of a break. That wasn't the case with George getting ready for Condit and Rory getting ready for Penn. The gym was just jam-packed with fighters from all over the world, trainers from all over the world. Firas brought in the best guys and built such great camps, and the gym has just been, it's just been a freak show. It's just been going wild. Nothing but pure talent, and I've met and trained with guys that I'm super grateful for being able to train with.
And I know Rory has said in the past that, having a guy like George around has really influenced him in terms of, showing him what a champion can be, what a champion trains like. Is that the same for you, looking at maybe Rory or even George, as far as guys you can look up to a little bit and say, this is the way I need to train, or the way I need to be to take it to that next level?
Yeah, it's great being close with Rory, being friends with him. We're always able to sit back and discuss, our opinions on training and what we should be doing, and have the guidance of guys like George and Firas to help us. So we're always being put on the right path as far as training, and everything that has to do with fighting goes. We're always being put on the right path and being taken such good care of.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
The next question comes from Randy Harris with WTAN Radio.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mike and Colton, could you guys just talk about the experience of The Ultimate Fighter and being in the house?
Yeah, you go first, Colton.
Yeah. It was a great experience. 16 really good fighters in the house together. I kind of knew what to expect. I've been in that situation before, away from my family, away from my element, as far as not having outside communication with the outside world. But it was a great experience. Roy brought in some unbelievable coaches, like guest coaches, Rashad Evans, the Scrap Pack, Hoist Gracie, and that was very great. Learning from guys like that, guys that are around my size, guys that have made it to the top and remain at the top. Jake Shields, Gilbert Melendez, guys like that. So, all in all, it was obviously a great thing. Nothing negative should ever come from being a part of the Ultimate Fighter unless you get kicked out or you act like a fool. So, all in all, it was a good experience.
Yeah, as far as training and fight experience goes, I think the Ultimate Fighter is a great format. You get to fight so frequently, so it keeps you so fresh and so sharp. But as far as being taken away from my family and friends, training partners and coaches, I wasn't too happy about that. It was obviously something I knew was going to happen going into it. I knew I was going to miss home and be taken out of my element, but it was something that I had to do to get to where I wanted to be in my career.
Anything surprise either one of you guys as you kind of watch it back?
Just the way they portray certain people on the show. Julian Lane, he's a character. Everyone knows he's a character, but they really blow up every episode how bad he was. He was only bad like that for a couple days, and he did some pranks and stuff like that. But certain individuals, I think they showed a little bit too much, and they didn't show other individuals enough. Guys who were very influential with the team and training, and they didn't show enough training. I was really surprised they didn't show how we trained and on both sides. I know Team Carwin had a really structured schedule and good training, strength conditioning program going on over there, and I was kind of interested to see how it was on their side, but I didn't get a really chance to see it during the season.
Yeah, they definitely picked and choose on what they were gonna portray and how they were gonna show things. You can't show everything. There's 2 months worth of filming, but a lot of situations were portrayed differently. That's definitely for sure.
Okay, great. Thanks, and good luck to all four of you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Stephen Morocco with MMAJunkie.com.
Question for both Colton and Mike. You guys were the beneficiaries of a 6-week shoot as opposed to a 13-week shoot the previous season. I wonder if you guys could talk about what life was like for you immediately after you got off set, what you did and how it was and how you felt. Maybe we could start with Colton first.
Yeah. immediately when I come out of the house, Tim Kennedy was getting ready for a fight, so I was trying to help him prepare for that before help my family, my wife, my kids, but also get right back on the bandwagon of training with Tim and Andrew Craig and those guys, and trying to get them prepared and helping me, evolve as a fighter as well. But as far as like the fan press and all that stuff, that was kind of a shock a little bit. Obviously, people constantly contacting you and people come out of the woodworks. But Dana White said it good before we left the house. Dana sat us down and said, before you came on this show, remember who your friends and your family were, and just keep them. Don't worry about all the new people coming into your life. Usually it's going to be for something negative or for money or, they want some fame as well. So, just staying pretty level-headed, and nothing really changed in my life. I'm not, living in the same house I lived in.
Yeah, coming out of the house, I had a bit of like a social shock almost. I came back, and I have a large circle of friends and a big family. So coming back into the city was definitely, it took some adjusting. I was used to being in a hostile situation where I was constantly sizing people up or being sized up, waiting to fight on 1 day notice. So it was definitely a hostile environment in the house, and coming back into the real world, being able to use a phone and a computer and people being nice to you and showing you affection and whatnot was definitely took some getting used to. So I definitely.
Okay. And a question for Matt, if I could. Can you tell me if, in fact, Roy did ask you to undergo VADA testing, and if so, when that happened?
Yeah, Roy asked me. I don't remember what day it was. He tweeted it. He tweeted the day he sent it. So I don't remember what day that was. It was probably like probably a week and a half, maybe something like that, maybe 10 days ago.
And did you in fact say no?
No, I just never. I had a bunch of other things going on, and just felt like it was a little bit of a distraction, so I didn't want to deal with it.
Is that something that you're opposed to in general, or was it just the circumstances of what happened this time around?
No, I have no problem with being drunk. I cut a couple weeks out of my training camp, so I had to make sure I was still pretty active. I was so interested in getting my blinders put on, I even cut my Twitter off. I canceled my Twitter. I felt little like I wanted any kind of distractions. I needed to make sure that since I was coming on, somewhat short notice, cutting a couple weeks out of my camp and training for a 5-round fight, this is something I want to make sure I just didn't have any extracurricular stuff going on that could distract me.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just to remind everyone, that is *1 if you would like to ask a question. Next, we'll go to Corey Smith with MMAnonstop.com.
Hi, guys. My question is for Roy, fighter and being on The Ultimate Fighter. And also, was there anybody that you wanted to bring in as a guest coach that maybe, due to scheduling conflict or something like that, wasn't able to come?
Yeah, the difference between coaching and actually being on The Ultimate Fighter, you have one goal. When you're on The Ultimate Fighter as a contestant, your one goal is to strictly win. And as a coach, you're trying to get 8 guys to win. And it's really up to them to choose which one actually wants to, who wants it more. And you can't, give them the heart and the desire to, go out there and do it versus like the other way around. When you're the contestant, you only have to depend on yourself to get the job done. Coaches and, stuff like that, extra. And there's, I wanted to bring Mo Lawal in. And then I was going to actually bring Chill in. Chill actually was, actually going to make it, but then that was when that John Jones cancellation fight with Dan Henderson. and Chael was going to come in, but then he had to prepare for, the fight. And then, there's a couple other ones that just had some scheduling conflicts. So, it would have been like the best DVD set ever.
That would have been. All right, thanks so much, Roy.
The next question will come from Philip Palmajar with RealCombatMedia.com.
Edge towards Roy Nelson. How much in your preparation and your training camp did you have to change over to accommodate the new opponent? And did that change the dynamic of the end of the Ultimate Fighter, knowing that you weren't going to actually be facing Shane Carwin?
No, I figured Shane was going to probably pull out of the fight. This is not the first time he's done it, so I just didn't know when or where that was going to actually happen. But for the preparation of fighting Matt versus Shane is definitely two different opponents. One guy's southpaw, one guy's orthodox. Matt, Shane Carwin. So I think I'm giving him the light version of Alistair Overeem from Matt Mitrione.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much for your time.
And the next question will come from Andy Cotterill with MMA.ca.
Hi, this question is, I've actually got a few questions for Mike Ricci. How are you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good, Andy. How you doing?
Great, thanks. Coming from TriStar, a gym that's got very strong connections, very strong ties with the Ultimate Fighting Championship, it seems they do quite well in getting their fighters chances to fight in the UFC. Throughout the whole process of the Ultimate Fighter, watching you on TV and in a few interviews afterward in the house, not necessarily talking about the training, but being in the house. In retrospect, are you happy you went through the whole process? And if yes, would that answer have been different if you had not made the finals?
Well, obviously, I didn't like the experience regardless, win or lose. So obviously winning and having the outcome that I had made it a little easier to deal with and cope with. I felt like I was, I at least gained something from what I went through, But I have been vocal about me not enjoying the situation there, and I really didn't. I stand by that comment. I didn't enjoy it one bit.
Why don't you talk a little bit about Colton and how you see him as in the final?
Sorry?
How you see that fight going?
Well, that's the beauty of tough, right? You get to watch your opponent fight live multiple times, especially if you're obviously in the finale, you get to see your opponent fight 4 times. And Colton, I don't think he even lost a round in tough. So he's definitely a good fighter. He's well-rounded. He's in good shape. So I've done the best I can to prepare for him. Obviously, I haven't taken him lightly. I've been able to watch him fight, and I know he's a good fighter. So I've done what I had to do to prepare for our altercation next Saturday.
Great. I've got one last question for you, Mike. After your first fight against Colton, are you intending to go back to the lightweight class?
Yeah, and a good solid 15 or 20 pounds and stay in the welterweight division, or keep my weight and go back down to 55. So I decided I like the way I feel walking around, at 178, 179, and I'm going to go back down to lightweight when this is over.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
And just another reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please press *1 at this time. And next we'll hear from Corey Smith with MMAnonstop.com.
Hi, guys. This question's for Colton and for Mike. In regards to the coaches that were on the show, which coach were you guys most surprised, that you learned the most from? Obviously, everybody learned stuff from Royce Gracie, but Yeah, I'll take that. You know, the Scrap Pack and Rashad Evans, you know, as a whole, all of them, they really helped me a lot with my game. You know, Jake Shields has a very pressure-oriented game. So feeling Jake and his pressure, you know, that's something I want to emulate. People say he lays on people, whatever, they can say what they want, but until they've been underneath Jake Shields and feel the pressure that he brings down, you know, it's pretty amazing. And as far as Rashad Evans goes, I was very, very impressed with his coaching abilities, and he did very well, you know, coaching us on cage work and striking from the clinch, and you know, that was definitely an eye opener for me and something to put in my tool bag. So, you know, ultimately got to thank you know, Big Country for bringing in. I
have to say that we didn't really bring anybody in. We kept the same team throughout the season. We had Nate Marquardt, Pat Barry, you know, Lisa Bowling, Trevor Whitman, and Shane Carwin. Obviously, we had Ole Marshall as well for jiu-jitsu, and all these guys were just constantly giving us, you know, solid information and great advice throughout the entire show. And I learned a lot more than I expected. Coming from the camp that I come from with such high-level coaches and training partners, I didn't think that I would learn as much as I did, but I did learn quite a bit over there.
Okay, great, guys. Good luck on Saturday. Thank you.
And there are no further questions in queue. I'll take this time to turn the call back to Dave Schaller for any additional or
Mitrione, Mike Ricci, and Colton Smith for joining today's call. Before we wrap things up, I do just want to go through the Fight Week schedule in Las Vegas today. On Thursday, we will have our Ultimate Fighter Finale open workouts. They are closed to the public. Again, they are closed to the public. It's at the Hard Rock Hotel in the Montreux Room. Roy Nelson, Matt Mitrione, Shane Del Rosario, Pat Barry, and both of the tough finalists will be on and available from 12 to 2:30. 12 to 1 is the media check-in, and workouts kick off at 1, concluding at 2:30. On Friday, December 14th, a change from the usual run of play. Weigh-ins are actually at 2 o'clock Pacific time, 2 p.m. Pacific time at the Hard Rock. Those are free and open to the public. The weigh-ins will be in the joint. And that leads us into Saturday, which is 6 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget, Friday night on FX, Soteropoulos versus Pearson, the Tough Smashes finale. That's on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thanks again to the guys. We'll see everybody in Las Vegas later this week. Have a great day and appreciate you joining the call.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's call. Thank you again for your